This is Lokei the Crow, and although some call these creatures pests, this is Phil Wood's best friend.
The day he imprinted on me, I'll never forget it. It was so spectacular.
Wood found Lokei injured along a trail earlier this year before housing and nurturing him back to health. It was also tough to be a caretaker and balance school at the same time.
As hard as it was to balance it, I would do it 100 times over. And I ended up being the top of my class too.
Wood has spoken openly about his life as an addict for 15 years, but he has been clean for over a year and a half, and Lokei gives him another reason to continue down the path he's on.
The difference he made in my life is beyond anything I could ever experience. I've tried everything to help myself, and it was funny, a crow was the final, the final nail in the coffin.
Like every relationship, though, things weren't always easy.
He's much more of a jerk, I guess you could say, when he's full healthy. They love to rip and tear at everything you can find.
Phil can now only visit Lokei as the college does have a no pets policy.
Our staff is working with Phil to try to come up with the best solution for him and for Lokei. And he has said himself, he understands that he can't keep the crow here. But we're working with him the best that we can to help support him in his school efforts, but also help support him in terms of finding alternative residents.
And many people don't know how smart the crow actually is.
Crows are extremely intelligent birds. They are known for their excellent problem-solving and communication skills. Lokei here can also distinguish one human from another just by looking at their face.
I never cared for anything in my life like as much as I care for this bird. I learned how to love something, I learned how to care for something, how to take responsibility.
Home is truly where the heart is, and call it birds of a feather. These two surely will always stick together. For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Tyson Fedor. Terrace RCMPs say there have been 8 break-and-enters since the beginning of October. The 3 most recent ones in November, however, could be linked. The police are investigating them as separate incidents. The total budget for the closure of the 2 landfills, along with the opening of the Thornhill transfer station and a new landfill here at Forceman Ridge, was $17.5 million. Officials say they are still a few weeks behind schedule. Fire says he was driving around 75 to 80 kilometers per hour on that wet, rainy August day. The road pooled with water. He hugged the shoulder before entering back into his lane while he approached the bridge, and that's when tragedy struck.
I remember hearing the young kids saying, "Mom, what's happening? What's going on?"
This terrace home was a raging inferno the night James Giles risked his own life to save 3 others.
What I picture as a hero is different. For me, it's more of a neighborly thing, and that's what happens when humanity kicks in, right?
Giles was getting ready to go to bed when he looked out his window across the street, and all he saw were 15-foot flames.
There was too much smoke to see what was happening. It was hard to breathe, but I could see just a silhouette to my left, and I was kind of feeling, he was down the stairs, so I kind of stepped down, I grabbed him, and I pulled him up, and I cupped his face with my hand and sealed off his nose and his mouth.
Giles threw a rock through the window as the mother, daughter, and son were all fast asleep, not knowing their lives were at risk.
She was oblivious to what happened. I don't think she understood that the house was on fire, and the first thing I said is, "Where are your kids?"
The smoke filled the family's home and their lungs, which could have resulted in a much more serious outcome.
Potential was there. The potential was there. She had no idea. Like, her nose was, everything's coated in black. Her nose was jet black, and the potential was there.
The fire department says they are still looking into what caused the fire that started in the garage and whether the smoke detectors were working.
Talk with the homeowner to see when was the last time they changed their smoke detectors, the batteries and stuff. So if they had smoke detectors and they didn't go off, yes, that would be a concern to us.
As for Giles, who says he still hasn't processed the events of that night fully, he'll be at home recovering after doctors ordered him to take a few days to get healthy after inhaling large amounts of smoke in the rescue effort.
I'm getting intermittent headaches, right? It'll go away. Every so often, certain areas of my chest start to burn, and then it just kind of fizzles off, comes back.
For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Tyson Fedor.
The federal government has formally rejected the Enbridge Northern Gateway project. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made the announcement at a news conference in Ottawa this afternoon. Well, Kitimat Mayor Phil Gramuth, he says he understands the decision made by the federal government yesterday in regards to Northern Gateway and the moratorium Justin Trudeau announced of banning tanker traffic on BC's north coast. For the third time in 3 weeks, passengers on the WestJet Encore flight 3105 from Vancouver to Terrace were in for a bumpy landing. The airline declared an emergency due to a potential issue with the nose landing gear. An Oregon family is appealing for help in finding their diabetic father, who's believed to be missing without his insulin in the Iskut area.
She is a voracious, murderous, sneaky, conniving, cunning, yes, very cunning cat.
Laura Woodall is frustrated by the number of dead birds she sees from her garden in Kitimat.
There are no birds left. There used to be 100 pine siskins every day, all day. There's no birds left.
The reason? Your cute and cuddly cats are hunting birds every day.
A report released by the Wildlife Research Department for Environment Canada in 2013 says 196 million birds are killed annually due to feral and domestic cats, making them the #1 leading killer of birds in the country.
Just think that there's maybe 500 cats here. If they all kill 2 birds a day, it's 1,000 birds a day. It's 30,000 birds a month. It's 360,000 birds every year just here in Kitimat. Really, come on, people, wake up.
Hilda Littman lives down the street from Woodall and has been a gardener for over 26 years. She says her neighbor's cat is killing mice, birds, and other creatures daily, and she is left to deal with the remains.
If they put their cats outside, they do huge harm. They might think, oh, it's just a bird. I find a little bird, I toss it out, and that's it. We don't know exactly how many birds a day they kill.
She has tried to put up barriers, including a 100-foot-long hedge and a chicken wire, but says that isn't working. Littman suggests if people think she doesn't like cats, that's not true.
I don't hate cats. I don't like what their owners are doing.
Council believes it's an issue they hope to shed light on.
And so it is an issue that we don't often think about. People with gardens sometimes think about it.
There's a major impact on songbird populations in North America because of cats.
Although Littman and Woodall don't have a concrete solution to the problem,
I don't know what needs to be done about it. If finding them is good enough, if you tell them, if you want them, you have to keep them inside to create havoc in neighbors' yards.
a start would be leaving these guys inside.